Most people think pancreatic cancer is a random, unlucky strike. They believe it comes out of nowhere. But the science tells a very different story. The truth is, many of the triggers are hiding in plain sight, woven into our daily lives. I'm Dr. James, and on this channel, Pancreatic Cancer Warriors, we're going to uncover these hidden factors. It's not about fear. It's about giving you the knowledge to take control. Let's break down what really puts you at risk. Did you know that pancreatic cancer often grows from a slow burn? It doesn't just appear overnight. It's usually the end result of a long, complex process involving your lifestyle, your genetics, and even the environment around you. Think of it like a fire. It doesn't start with a huge explosion. It begins with small, smoldering embers. Over many years, these embers can be fanned into a full-blown flame. The problem is that these embers are often silent. You don't feel them, and you don't see them. This is why understanding the combination of these factors is so critical for prevention. Many people assume it's just one big thing, like a single bad gene, but it's rarely that simple. The reality is that multiple small triggers often work together, increasing the overall risk in a way that's greater than the sum of its parts. This is why you might see someone with no family history of the disease develop it, while someone with a known genetic risk never does. It's the interplay of these different elements that sets the stage. We're going to look at each of these embers, one by one, so you can recognize them in your own life and start making changes today. Let's start with one of the most significant risk factors: chronic inflammation. Imagine your pancreas is constantly on high alert, like an engine that never gets to cool down. This is what happens with a condition called chronic pancreatitis. When the pancreas is repeatedly inflamed, its cells are under constant stress. They have to repair and replace themselves over and over again. This rapid cell turnover is a recipe for disaster. Why? Because every time a cell divides, there's a tiny chance for a mistaken mutation to occur in its DNA. Normally, your body has excellent systems to fix these mistakes, but when cells are dividing relentlessly due to chronic inflammation, the repair systems can get overwhelmed. A mistake might slip through, then another. Over time, these small errors can accumulate, leading a normal pancreatic cell to transform into a cancerous one. It's a direct link. The persistent inflammation creates a highly unstable environment within the pancreas, making it a fertile ground for cancer to develop. Many people aren't even aware they have low-grade chronic inflammation, but it significantly elevates their lifetime risk. This isn't a minor detail. It's a major warning sign that your pancreas is in trouble. Now, let's talk about something many people know is bad, but they don't realize just how directly it targets the pancreas. I'm talking about smoking. When it comes to pancreatic cancer, smoking isn't just a risk factor. It's one of the strongest and most consistent triggers we've identified. It's estimated to be responsible for nearly 1 in 4 cases. Here's what happens. When you smoke, you're inhaling a cocktail of over 70 known carcinogens, cancer-causing chemicals. These toxins don't just stay in your lungs. They are absorbed into your bloodstream and circulated throughout your entire body, including your pancreas. Once these chemicals reach the pancreas, they can directly damage the DNA within its cells. They act like tiny wrenches thrown into your cellular machinery, causing mutations that can initiate cancer. Furthermore, smoking also promotes inflammation and oxidative stress, compounding the damage. The link is dose-dependent, meaning the more you smoke and the longer you smoke, the higher your risk. The good news: the risk starts to drop as soon as you quit. It's one of the most powerful preventative steps you can take, and the benefits for your pancreas and your entire body begin almost immediately. Next, we need to address 2 powerful triggers that are deeply connected: obesity and a poor diet. Many people don't realize that excess body fat isn't just a passive storage of energy. It's an active endocrine organ that produces hormones and inflammatory signals. When you are overweight or obese, especially with fat stored around your abdomen, your body is in a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation. This inflammatory environment, which we've already established is dangerous for the pancreas, is constantly present. Furthermore, obesity leads to insulin resistance, a condition where your body's cells don't respond properly to the hormone insulin. To compensate, your pancreas is forced to work overtime, pumping out more and more insulin to try to get your blood sugar under control. This metabolic strain puts a tremendous amount of stress on the pancreas. Add a diet high in processed foods, red meats, and sugar, and you're adding fuel to the fire. These foods can further drive inflammation and contribute to the hormonal and metabolic imbalances. that create a favorable environment for cancer cells to grow. It's not about body shaming, it's about understanding the biological reality. Your weight and your diet directly influence the health of your pancreas. This leads us directly to our next major trigger, uncontrolled diabetes. The connection between diabetes, particularly type 2, and pancreatic cancer is a two-way street, and it's a dangerous one, as we just discussed. The conditions that often lead to type 2 diabetes, like obesity and insulin resistance, put a massive strain on the pancreas. This chronic overwork and the associated inflammation can contribute to the development of cancer, but it also works the other way. Sometimes, the early, undetected growth of a pancreatic tumor can actually cause diabetes by disrupting the pancreas's ability to produce insulin. In fact, a sudden, unexplained diagnosis of diabetes in an older adult who is otherwise healthy can be an early warning sign of pancreatic cancer. For those who already have long-term, uncontrolled diabetes, the high levels of blood sugar and insulin create a pro-growth environment throughout the body. Cancer cells love sugar. It's their preferred fuel. High insulin levels also act as a growth factor, encouraging cells, including cancerous ones, to divide and multiply. This combination of inflammation, metabolic stress, and high sugar levels can dramatically accelerate pancreatic stress, making it a much more vulnerable organ. Now, we can't ignore the role of genetics. While lifestyle choices are powerful, some people are simply born with a higher vulnerability. Certain genetic mutations, passed down through families, can significantly increase the risk of pancreatic cancer. You may have heard of the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes, which are famously linked to breast and ovarian cancer. What many people do not know is that mutations in these same genes also elevate the risk for pancreatic cancer. Other genetic syndromes, like Lynch syndrome or Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, carry a similar risk. If you have a strong family history, meaning one or more first-degree relatives like a parent or sibling had pancreatic cancer, or multiple relatives on the same side of your family were affected, your personal risk is higher. This doesn't mean you will get cancer. It simply means you're starting with a different baseline. It means being extra vigilant about screening and lifestyle choices becomes even more crucial. Genetic testing can help identify these mutations, empowering you and your doctor to create a proactive surveillance plan. It's about knowing your personal risk profile so you can take the right steps. Finally, let's touch on a factor that is often overlooked because it is so difficult to trace: exposure to environmental chemicals and toxins. This is a challenging area to study, but evidence suggests that long-term exposure to certain industrial chemicals may play a role. These can include pesticides, certain dyes, and chemicals used in metalworking and dry cleaning. The problem is that these exposures often happen in small amounts over many years, and you may not even be aware of them. Like the toxins in cigarette smoke, these chemicals can be absorbed into the body and circulate to the pancreas, where they can contribute to cellular damage and inflammation. While the link isn't as definitive as it is for smoking or pancreatitis, it's an important piece of the puzzle. It reminds us that our environment where we work and live can have a profound impact on our long-term health. This isn't about panicking over every chemical you might encounter. It's about being mindful of chronic occupational exposures and advocating for safe working conditions. It highlights, once again, that the triggers for this disease are often silent and cumulative, operating in the background of our lives. The most important takeaway from all of this is that pancreatic cancer rarely comes from just one source. It's the accumulation of these triggers over decades that creates the perfect storm. The chronic inflammation from pancreatitis, the DNA damage from smoking, the metabolic stress from obesity and diabetes, a genetic predisposition, and environmental exposures, they all add up. Many of these processes operate silently for years, without causing any symptoms until the disease is already advanced. This is precisely why awareness is our most powerful weapon. You can't fight an enemy you don't see. But now, you see them. You understand the hidden triggers. So, what can you do? Start by focusing on what you can control. If you smoke, quitting is the single most impactful change you can make. Prioritize a healthy diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins, and maintain a healthy weight to reduce inflammation and metabolic stress. If you have diabetes, work closely with your doctor to keep it under tight control. And if you have a family history, don't wait. Talk to your doctor about genetic counseling and a potential screening plan. This isn't about achieving perfection. It's about making conscious, informed choices every single day that lower your risk profile. Empower yourself with this knowledge, have open conversations with your healthcare provider, and advocate for regular checkups. Your health is in your hands. Thank you for watching.